Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Awaken Your Soul. I'm Lauren Cabaldon, Clinical Director at Akua Mind and Body, and this is Dan Paulsell. He's our alumni coordinator. So today we're going to talk a little bit about spirituality and awareness in recovery.
So here I am as the alumni coordinator. I do a lot of other things, but that's kind of like, that's what I look at as my job, is to support the clinical team and to create a family environment, a wholesome fellowship that people can feel connected to. If we look at spirituality, we would typically think like a connecting to everything, or it may be religious connotations. There's a bunch of different avenues. I'm a believer that if there was a mountain and it was peak serenity at the top, like this awareness, calmness, just comfort of knowing everything's okay or going to be okay, that's the peak. And there's all these different trails that go up that mountain, and those can be Islam, Buddhism, the 12 steps, Christianity. These are all just different trails to the same goal. I had a friend suggest to me one time that a wave could be a higher power for me, and I thought that was ignorant. Like, it was like, that's obviously not God, right? Like, they write books about gods and stuff like that, and so a wave is not God. And then I started looking at, well, that is influenced by the gravitational pull of the moon, which is held in orbit by the gravitational pull of Earth, which is held by, and it just like it expanded my consciousness of how really insignificant I was, and how that there had to be like stuff I didn't know, and that stuff I didn't know, that's like kind of like the stuff that gives me the strength to know that there's something greater, grander, that I'm a small part of. So the spiritual connection is, I think, is the front line of letting go of self. Basically what you're doing is taking a narcissist and getting them to realize that they're a thing and there's other things. Like, it's that simple, that I'm just one piece of this thing, that it doesn't all revolve around me.
At the center of the universe.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's not always about me, and my emotional response is not always what the world should be catering to. Very important to get rid of the narcissistic ideas.
And you keep saying narcissism, and I just want to point that out. Are you suggesting that all alcoholics and addicts are narcissists? And what do you mean by that?
So an alcoholic and an addict has to decide if they're an alcoholic or an addict. But once they've done that, I would say I'm fairly certain there's, if not necessarily full-blown narcissistic, but narcissistic traits. And that's a really offensive term. Like, when someone told me that, I was really offended. It's like, no, I'm a really kind, caring person.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to manipulate you, because it's all about me and what I want and what I get. And it's all about me, whether I'm kind or I'm angry to you, to get you to bend to my will, right? So I think it's very, very common to see that, and it's a very simple concept that we can grab onto. Instead of I'm an alcoholic and I got to do all these things, like, I really just need to learn that I'm not the center of the universe, and I need to start thinking about other people.
And thank you for saying that, because I think there's this misconception, particularly with the stigma of alcoholism and addiction. It's very closely tied to narcissism. And one of the things I like to reiterate is that, narcissism comes from, deep early childhood suffering. It doesn't just come from one day, I want to have this charisma like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. I see him as kind of one of the classic male narcissists, right? And, outwardly and inwardly. And it does come from this deep place of seeking wholeness. I just kind of wanted to ask you how you see the group or connectedness as a spiritual solution to that individual problem.
Well, one of the big things in recovery is we suffer from a common sickness, illness. So one concept in 12-step recovery says that we suffer from a spiritual malady. Yes. When we straighten out spiritually, we straighten out mentally and physically. And so the spiritual component really is, in my opinion, the separating from the narcissistic thoughts, which allow us to both the separating from that by seeing a bigger picture, and I'm a smaller thing in this deal, but also that inner work of seeing my part in stuff and seeing how I've been hurt or how I'm hurting allows me to have empathy for other people. And I'm now able to connect to other people in a way that I wasn't before. Number one, I see that I need to be kind, caring, loving, and tolerant of you. I also start to see myself in you. When you come at me with something, or when you share some sort of pain, it will, as I practice this inner work and looking at these instincts, it will be obvious to me of what's really going on with you, and I can be more in tune with what's happening in your world as it relates to mine. And so this like organic common solution, empathy, and feeling a part of starts to happen.
You know, I'm not in recovery from an addiction with a substance, but I'm in recovery from lots of other things in the human condition. And one of the ways that I feel more spiritually aligned is when I recognize that whenever I'm triggered by anyone else, that actually is just basically informing me of the areas deep within myself that I still need to integrate. And I think that's what you're illustrating, and it happens. And I think we can, you know, even just share with our viewers, it can be as simple as your coworker that gets under your skin, or when your mom calls, you get this feeling, or a toxic ex. So with spirituality, it really can be just as simple as just your interactions with others, especially, at least in my own personal journey, the ones that trigger you.
The idea of what I spot I've got, I think it goes both ways. Like, let's be clear on that there's things I don't like about other people that when I see it, it's something in me that I'm typically not willing to acknowledge in myself. There's also, when I see the guy, I'll use the example, I think Teslas are rad and I would like to have one.
I want a flamethrower.
Okay, so when you see someone, when you see someone with a flamethrower, like, you get jealous of that, right? So there's that part of me that is fully capable of achieving that I haven't realized and actualized yet. And so so it goes both ways.
Since I've known you, you've always been a big nature guy, getting out in the wilderness. And we'll talk about hiking a lot and going to Yosemite and camping. And it's something that I've always really loved about you and your spirit. So could you speak to that a little bit and how that informs the spiritual process?
Yeah, I've always been drawn to it. When I was younger, we would take trips to this current river down in southern Missouri, where I'm from. That was, you know, like bald eagles fly over, and it's like babbling water, and you just canoe down it. That was a really intimate, like a very nice time in my childhood. So I really connect to nature as a place that allows me to be calm. It allows me to expand my life or my consciousness from like a simple, like, concrete jungle that we live in and out of doors and offices and roofs, and being outside is just comfortable. Like, it's open, and it reminds me of what's really important in this world. This really great, I don't know who he is, but he's a handsome old man. Like, I've seen a picture of him, and he says that humans are the most insane species.
Oh, totally.
It's that they worship a god that they can't see while they destroy the god that provides for them. Something along those lines of like we destroy our earth seeking like some fulfilling, meaningful, being a piece of something somewhere. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, we'd be happy to answer them. If you want to leave them in the comments underneath.
Thank you, Dan. We'll see you guys next time on Awaken Your Soul. Have a great week.